I'm starting to get really annoyed, and I don't know if I'm more annoyed at Jim and Pam or if I'm more annoyed at the show itself. I still absolutely adore The Office, but I'm getting very frustrated. And I also don't know how I feel about Phyllis's wedding. This is the 15th episode of the 3rd season of The Office. It's directed by Ken Whittingham, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the events of the episode and share some thoughts. And there were a lot of great moments, but there were 2 things that really irritated me. One was just Michael in general. I feel like he maybe took a couple of steps back with his character development and was just obnoxiously irritating. And that's Michael of season 1. So and I'll talk more about that in a moment and give examples of what he did, but I found him to be insufferable. And it's been quite a while since I felt that way. Having said that, a few episodes ago, it might have been the previous episode, I can't remember. There was an episode, though, recently where I felt like it was older Michael. And that's the case here as well. So that's a little bit annoying. And the other reason I didn't like this is because Pam and Jim, not necessarily it is their behaviours, but I feel like they're overdoing it. Every now and then we'll get something that makes it seem like we're taking a step forward and then we'll take 2 steps back. But it's happening so frequently that it's getting to the point where it's no longer exciting and it's just annoying. If they'd spread it out more, it might not have been the case. But I'm getting to the point where it's like, just realise already. It's getting really annoying that they're dangling this in front of us and then pulling it away. But it's happening so frequently that it's no longer thrilling. It's just really irritating. So those are 2 kind of big things in the episode. But of course, the main thing is Phyllis's wedding. But the intro has nothing to do with Phyllis's wedding. Jim is doing an experiment to see if Jim will salivate at the sound of the computer dinging. And it was quite a fun way to start things off. The rest of the episode is at Phyllis's wedding. It was really lovely seeing everybody arriving there, everybody being there for Phyllis. Michael is in the wedding. He's pushing Phyllis's father in a wheelchair down the aisle. Phyllis did this so that she could get 6 weeks off for her honeymoon. Seems like a small price to pay for a nice vacation. And it turns out her invites are the same as Pam and Roy's, and it has the same initials, of course, Phyllis and Bob, as Robert, P and R, and even the wedding dress is the same. And for the first time ever, I feel like I had a legit reason to hate Kelly. I don't like Kelly. I really don't like her, usually because she's annoying. But she wore white to the wedding, and that to me makes her a bad person. Not just an annoying person, but somebody who actively makes bad decisions to hurt other people. Not that Phyllis seemed bothered, but I think this is the first time where Kelly has done something that I actually think makes her a bad person, not just an annoying one. And honestly, there are so many things in this episode that I really didn't like. But we do have one moment that was so beautiful, because Michael is pushing Phyllis's father down the aisle, and they don't get very far down, and her father stops Michael, and he stands up, and he finds the strength to walk down the aisle. And it was a really beautiful moment, and I thought it was really well done. Things get a little bit more awkward when Dwight decides to throw out somebody he believes is crashing the wedding, and for a brief second, I thought he wasn't doing the wrong thing, because he asked this person, what are the names of the bride and groom? How do you know them? And he couldn't provide an answer. So I thought, okay, maybe it is a wedding crasher. And then we find out very, very quickly afterwards that Kevin's about to play with his band, but he also makes an announcement that Uncle Al has gone missing. And Uncle Al is an old man with dementia. And the camera focuses on Dwight. And we are, of course, led to believe that Uncle Al with dementia was the person Dwight thought was crashing the wedding. So that's a little bit awkward. And then it gets even worse. Michael, not that I dislike that part of the episode, I think that part of the episode was handled well. But then Michael stands up and gives, I don't even want to use the word speech, as it's not really a speech. He says his name multiple times, and it was just horrendous. If that's all Michael had done, it might have been funny, but I just found him insufferable in this episode. I could not stand him. And then we have a nice moment with Pam and Jim, where Pam says, I'm such a dorky dancer, and Jim replies, I know, and it's very cute. And then Jim talks to the camera And he says, hypothetically, if I thought Pam was interested, then no, it's totally hypothetical. And then I realised the camera person must know. And in fact, the camera person, or people, I assume there are multiple people filming this mockumentary, they are probably the only people who know that Jim likes Pam and Pam likes Jim. And they have the power to tell them. And maybe that's why Jim said that. Maybe the camera person said, hypothetically, if Pam liked you, maybe that's what sparked that discussion. So now I just want them to turn around and say, by the way, it's not hypothetical. They have that power. And the fact that they're not doing anything with it, and the fact that they video Pam sobbing and Jim clearly looking at Pam, and they do nothing with that. I'm not a huge fan of the people behind the camera now. They're not very nice people. I'm obviously talking about the fictional people filming the mockumentary, not the actual people behind the real cameras. And Dwight then turns Michael away because Phyllis has kicked him out for his behaviour. And that's quite an interesting moment because Dwight hero worships Michael, but clearly he worships power more. And in that moment, he had the power and he liked it. And then they play Fields of Gold, which was really beautiful. And it turns out Roy had paid them $20 to play that song because it's Pam and Roy's song. And they go outside and dance. And Roy asks Pam if they want to leave. And she just nods. And they walk out. And Jim sees this. And I'm so annoyed. I am really, really annoyed. I'm not saying I needed any forward movement with this episode, but that is yet again one step back, and it's getting too frequent. Yes, teasing us with this, giving us a little bit, then pulling it away, that's absolutely fine. It's exciting. But when it's constant, it's just getting annoying at this point. Really irritating more than anything else, and I think it's actually quite badly handled. To begin with, I thought it was handled really well. Teasing us, giving us suspense, but now it's just a little bit over the top and a little bit too much. And coupled that with Michael in general in this episode, I didn't love it. I liked the wedding atmosphere. I liked seeing everybody except Kelly there supporting Phyllis. Kelly is a selfish, horrible, nasty person, and honestly, I don't like her at all. Even Angela was better than Kelly in this episode, and that's saying something. Angela wasn't actually that bad in the episode, and it was nice seeing Phyllis happy, and I like the fact that generally she didn't let Michael ruin things, and that was quite nice. I don't want Pam and Roy to get back together. 100% do not want that. Even if they continue to tease that as a possibility, it can't happen. Because that would be Pam settling for somebody who does not treat her right. That would be Pam forgetting how badly Roy treated her. I mean, he didn't treat her terribly, but he didn't treat her right either. So that would actually be a bad look for Pam, for her to realise that actually she can settle for somebody who doesn't treat her right, and that's not great. So I hope that something happens soon, or that they just stop teasing us and pulling it away from us, because it's just getting a little bit annoying now. This episode wasn't great. There were a lot of things that really irritated me, mostly Michael and Kelly, and not the actions of Pam and Jim, but how they handled it in the episode, how the writers handled it in the episode. So I'm getting annoyed, getting very frustrated, still enjoying the show, of course, but Phyllis's wedding really wasn't a great episode.